This is the Project Management Podcast. We bring project management topics to beginners and experts. Find us on the web at www.thepmpodcast.com or send your emails to pmpodcast@gmail.com. Hello and welcome to episode number 74. I am Cornelius Fichtner. This is the Project Management Podcast for the 11th of August 2007. Nice to have you with us. Back in episode 70, we tried something new. Instead of an in-depth interview on a particular topic, I invited Dina Henry Scott to a project management conversation. We just chatted about what she's doing and what I am doing. The feedback on that particular episode was so encouraging that I decided to do more conversations just like it. We will, of course, continue to have our in-depth feature interviews, but going forward, you can expect many more such project management conversations. Today's project management conversation is with Shawn Futterer, who is a certified project management professional with a broad range of experience. We'll learn more about Shawn in just a moment. First, we have a couple of announcements. Then we want to remind you of our PM methodology license giveaway, and we also have to look at this week's helpful resources. The first announcement is a thank you that goes to Finland. The thank you goes to Jari Pilasto from Espoo for his very generous donation to the Project Management Podcast. This is highly appreciated. If you too want to donate to the podcast, if you think that you like what you hear and it's helpful for you, you can find the donations button now in the left-hand navigation of our newly designed website. We are continuing to use your donations towards our recording equipment. And another thing that we have done on the website, this is our second announcement, we have made subscribing much easier. That is good news for all those among you who listen to our podcast via click to play. You know, you go to a website somewhere and it says, click here to listen to this episode. Well, you can now subscribe to the podcast much more easily. All you need to do to subscribe is to go to thepmpodcast.com and then you will see two fairly large buttons on the left-hand side. One for iTunes and one for all other podcatching software. You can simply click on the iTunes button to add your podcast to your iTunes. And if you use another software, then start up that software and then drag the orange button from our website directly into your software, and you will get our podcast downloaded and delivered to you automatically. Today's episode is sponsored by mpmm.com. Want to gain total project management success? By using the MPMM project management methodology, you can gain immediate access to all of the processes, tools, and templates you need to manage projects. Packed with more than 1,000 tasks, charts, and practical examples, you can create project deliverables faster and more easily, saving you time and money. If you want to gain total project management success, then download a free trial now from www.mpmm.com. So much for our sponsor message this week. In the last episode, we announced the giveaway of one of their MPMM licenses, and this giveaway is continuing in today's episode. They have just released MPMM version 4, which helps users to create and customize methodologies for projects. And a free license is a $695 value. To participate in this giveaway, send an email to mpmm@thepmpodcast.com. In the subject line, write MPMM, and in the body, put your first name, last name, and the town and country that you are writing from. The deadline for this email, it has to reach me by August 22nd, 2007. That's a Wednesday. So go ahead and send it off right now and participate in this giveaway. Your email and email address will, of course, be deleted after the drawing, so you're not signing up for some weird mailing list here. Again, the address is mpmm@thepmpodcast.com. The first helpful resource that I'd like to mention is something for everyone out there who is preparing for the PMP exam and anyone who wants to learn from sharing know-how. The website I'd like to recommend is pmlessonslearned.com. PM Lessons Learned is more than just a website. In fact, the website is almost like an afterthought because PM Lessons Learned is all about conference calls. They do 4 conference calls every month, during which project managers from all over gather and exchange their know-how. These conference calls are then recorded and are also available as a podcast. And it was a few episodes ago that we had a special episode of PM Lessons Learned right here on the Project Management Podcast. The conference calls are always at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, which is the New York time zone. On the first Thursday of the month, they do the PMP exam study group. So that's for all those among you who are currently studying for the PMP exam. On the second Thursday and on the fourth Thursday, they have the job shop call, where they are connecting people with PM job openings to those who are looking for openings. And on the third Thursday of every month, they do their regular PM Lessons Learned conference call. That's when PMs are talking and sharing about project management topics of lessons learned in their projects. And of course, for those of you who are preparing for the PMP exam, I highly recommend the first Thursday call. I listened in this month and I was truly impressed by David Radkovich's presentation. In fact, I was so impressed that I hope to be giving away a free subscription to my own Prepcast in next month's call. The second helpful resource is simply called Project Management. This page is managed by PJ Westerhoff, and it is one of the largest collections of project management links that I have ever seen. If you print it, it is 25 pages long. While the amount of info is great, finding the info is of course a bit difficult, and it would have been great to have it I'm not sure how, but somewhat organized. I'm not quite sure how you do this with this amount. Maybe categorize them, I don't know. But you can, of course, always press, Control F in your browser and then search for what you are looking for. It's a full text searchable page. Here are some of the categories on the page. General project management links, glossaries of project management terms, Prince 2, PMBOK guide, portfolio management, stakeholder management, theory of constraints and critical chain project management, agile project management, extreme project management, and so on. The list is almost never ending. I bet that if you're looking for anything in the project management world, you will find it here. Our third and final helpful resource today is a series of articles written by today's guest, Shawn Futterer. Like myself, Shawn writes many helpful articles about getting PMP certified. These 5 articles can be found on pmhut.com, and they are titled Preparing for Certification Exams, What is Project Management, Lessons Learned from the PMP Certification Exam, Are you thinking about becoming PMP certified, and Know the Value of Having PMP Certification. And these 5 are definitely worth your time. If you would like to look at all these helpful resources in detail, then please surf over to our website, thepmpodcast.com, and click on the helpful resources link that you find at the bottom of today's episode, which is, as a reminder, episode number 74. And now let's head right into our main topic, our project management conversation with Shawn Futterer, PMP. Shawn started his career in 1992, managing quality control projects for a small manufacturing company, and is currently working in a PMO for a Fortune 50 telecommunications company, where he supervises project managers for the North region. Over the course of his career, Shawn has managed projects of all shapes and sizes, with budgets up to 100 million. Shawn has a keen interest in the methodologies, strategy, planning, and operations. He has over 15 years of hands-on project management experience and has led, consulted on, or contributed to process development efforts, various methodologies, and multiple training programs. Shawn attributes a project manager's success to their ability to provide a strategic view and a demonstrated ability to interact and communicate effectively with all levels of organization. Shawn is also the founder of STF Enterprises, a project management training company, and is the director for the 10-Step Global Project Management Community, a collaboration and social networking space for project managers. Shawn currently lives in Northern Virginia with his wife Stacy, son Dylan, and is expecting a daughter in December. And now, enjoy a project management conversation with Shawn Futterer, PMP. Fellow project managers, it is Saturday morning, absolutely gorgeous weather out here in California. With me is Shawn Futterer, and Shawn lives in Virginia. Hello, Shawn, and what's the weather like out there?
Hello, good morning. It's a beautiful day here. Nice sunshine, about 85 degrees right now. I think we'll enjoy some time at the pool later today.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for giving us the time and being on the program today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, this is just a discussion, a conversation about project management and the things that you're currently involved in. So, first question has to be, what project are you currently working on?
Well, that's a good question. It happens to be a big project. Every year, part of my responsibility is our higher education effort. I've been doing it for 3 years now. What we do is a program for students with a software partner, and we've grown in size. Our first year we did 1 university. Our second year we did 3 universities. This year, with I attribute part of our growth to the Virginia Tech incident. Unfortunately, that took place, but it's spurred some momentum in our project. We're now rolling our program out at 11 different universities, and that I'm in the telecommunications business, so we're working with wireless devices, and our total volume this year is going to be close to 20,000 devices. So it's quite a program to manage. Staff of almost 100 people when it's all said and done from all the different venues. So we'll run that program from August the 15th. When I say run, we'll deploy and roll out the program from August 15th to September 15th, which is the first week to 2 weeks of school for each of the universities. So we're coming to the point of execution.
Nice. What is your role on the project?
I'm the program manager, so I'm responsible for all the universities from an implementation perspective. We have multiple components, from network build out to application to device management. So my overall focus is on ensuring that the program itself is successful, that we have all of our delivery mechanisms in place, we have a support process in place. Each university has an assigned project manager from our group. So it's quite an effort.
How many project managers report directly to you then?
I'm only responsible in my day-to-day efforts. I'm only responsible for three people, including myself, and my focus is primarily on the North region. Across the United States, my portion of our PMO is 15 people strong. So each region has a Shawn, and So to answer your question, there's two. I have two direct reports plus myself for the third person in the north.
What are the biggest challenges that your project managers are seeing on this project at the moment, and how are you helping them?
We have two big problems. Our biggest problem currently is our staffing level for these university efforts, and I'll tell you, staffing is the most difficult challenge to overcome because we're reliant on other organizations within our company. So we're cherry picking head count to supplement our efforts, if you will. So we're robbing Peter to pay Paul to make this program work, and it's very difficult to balance those supporting organizations' normal daily workload with this effort. So that's our biggest challenge. The second largest challenge we're faced with is our delivery mechanism. When you're talking about in the telecommunications business, when you're talking about a volume of 20,000 wireless devices across 11 universities, which span 3 regions, and I can't even count the number of states, it's a massive back-end operational effort. So fulfillment and warehouse efforts are a challenge. We have a good staff, a good team in place, and there is some customization work that's happening in warehouse. So we're excited to have them as a part of the team, and they're doing a fantastic job getting these things in and out of inventory. So I'm pleased with it, but it's still challenging.
When you were first assigned to this particular project, was there anything in particular that you were looking forward to?
It's one of the most fast-paced projects that I've ever been involved in the deployment and execution phase. But it's one of the most stringent, long-lived, and exasperating planning processes I've ever been a part of. We spend 8 months out of the year planning for the 2 months that we roll out. Each year we've done this, the deployment methodology has changed. It's always improved, but nevertheless it's changed, and coping with that change is somewhat difficult, and it doesn't give the planning process a chance to rest.
What methodology are you using to plan this? Is this something in-house, or do you use some kind of a software to support yourselves?
No, we have an in-house methodology. Our software support is a standard Microsoft project. It's a web-based version of Microsoft Project, so we leverage that tool. But our own internal methodology was developed, 3 or 4 years ago, and the supporting documentation that comes along with that lends to our planning efforts, but is all captured in that Microsoft Project tool.
Now, my company is very big on documentation. In fact, we drown in documentation, right? Because I'm in the financial industry. Everything that you do, every pencil that you lift, you have to pretty much document it that you've lifted the pencil. Is it similarly in your area? Do you feel stifled by all the documentation that you have to do, or can you actually do your work?
Our documentation process or requirements have been fairly streamlined. We've segmented out our PMO into really four different areas. We've got a sales focus, and that consists of sales and sales engineering who do design work for our network. And then we have a solutions delivery group that focuses on the actual construction and implementation of the network. And then there's my portion of that, the group that I work for, which is solutions delivery from a device perspective, and that includes our support organization. So within those groups, our methodology breaks out into different phases, and each of the different phases has its documentation requirements. So our requirements are regular update of that Microsoft project tool. We have some statement of work requirements. We have some scope definition requirements. We have lessons learned requirements, obviously, and there are no formal requirements around how we capture our staffing plan, but we have developed a matrix that we use to coordinate that. So, to answer your question full circle, the documentation requirements in my business right now are not so they're not so stringent that you can't do your normal daily effort.
I assume, there is a big technical component on this project, and I assume that the technical documentation on the other side, which you're probably not involved in all too much, has to be much more detailed and much more precise, right? You have to draw the networks, you have to draw out all the components that are needed. Is that kind of the way I see it?
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All of that documentation goes into the scope and statement of work, which is then in part included in our contract with the customer. Right. So very detailed documentation work on that end.
What would you say are the strong areas of project management within your company? What are you really good at? Where do you deliver?
Our organization as a whole has its strength in our methodology. When I first started in this organization, the methodology wasn't fully developed. So I was fortunate enough to watch it complete its evolution and get implemented. And in whole, we've had this methodology for about 3 years, maybe slightly longer. And the adjustments that have been made to it have been minor and mostly on the operational side. So the methodology itself is very strong. And the way that it segments out the different aspects of managing a project or a program flow so well that we're able to reduce our overall cycle time significantly, tackle more projects with fewer staff, and it's just an overall benefit to the organization and our company as a whole.
Is the methodology aligned with the PMBOK guide or any other well-known framework?
I wouldn't call it aligned with the PMBOK, but we do leverage PMP certification as a value proposition for our service. The methodology is I would call more of a standalone. It's very specific to our business, although it wouldn't take much effort, I think, to morph it to fit other business needs.
So do your project managers then have to go through some sort of an internal training to bring them onto your methodology, or how do you get the know-how out to the people who actually do the work?
Yeah, there are internal training efforts. For the most part, the candidate pools from where we pull people to come into our organization, based on our overall, business outlook, it doesn't take an extraneous amount of training to bring someone up to speed to execute on our methodology. That, tied with the way that we segment out the work between the sales engineering and solutions delivery organizations, it simplifies the onboarding process, if you will.
You've mentioned quite a few various divisions that you have in your company. Would you say that you're functional, matrix, or more of a projectized organization? No,
we're very functional. We're sort of an overlay organization. So we're heavily reliant on our sister groups within the company to execute on the deployment, the implementation, construction. So we are, I think, more of a functional or even matrixed organization. We're certainly not projectized.
Let's move over a little bit to what you've done in your career so far, because you founded STF Enterprises. ReadySetPass.com is the company also that you built up, and you've also recently started out the Project Management Learning Center, which is now the 10stepcommunity.com. Tell us a little bit about your passion for project management. How did that come? What was your goal in starting out all these different businesses?
Well, I think it's inherent. My father, years ago, he's always been involved in management and specifically in project management. So I think my interest is derived from that. More recently, I did my PMP certification in 2005, and I went through a prep course to ensure that I was comfortable in taking the exam. So when I stepped back and I looked at what the exam prep provider was doing and what the return was for what they were doing, it sparked my interest in tapping into that business. So that's what led to the development of the website you had mentioned, ReadySetPass.com. So the intent for that website was to be a self-paced PMP exam prep service. So folks that didn't have the $2,000 or $3,000 or didn't want to spend that, maybe they didn't qualify for expense reimbursement from their company or whatever the reason was, it was a place where they could go and get inexpensive yet quality PMP exam prep material. I've since moved away from that business, and my colleague and partner in the 10-Step community website, Tom Mokel from 10-Step Inc., has taken over the ReadySetPass.com website. I expect that in due course, because 10-Step has a global presence, we'll see that service continue but morph into more comprehensive program, and I expect that it will be translated into the various languages that 10-Step supports. So I'm excited to see what it can become, and it's certainly it'll go someplace that I could never have taken it.
Something similar happened to the Project Management Learning Center. It started out as projectmanagementlearningcenter.com, and it's now 10stepcommunity.com. Tell us a little bit about that. What was your goal with the Project Management Learning Center, or the 10-Step Community now?
Yeah, so the Project Management Learning Center was my first stab at creating a social networking environment, a collaboration space for project managers. I was looking around the various places on the internet where project managers go to have discussions, get information, read documentation, articles, and so on, where they go to look for employment, and several other factors. And I picked up on an open source software that I felt could combine all the different aspects into one location, and we're on track to do that. So the Project Management Learning Center started out. It was just myself, and I was looking for people to act as correspondents, people to offer up different types of content and viewpoints throughout the project management industry. And I had contacted Tom Mokel from 10-Step to see if he was interested. And through the course of our discussions, we felt like it would be mutually beneficial to rebrand that website under the 10-Step name, bring that collaborative aspect to his business, and then bring his client base into the community, so that we can build a global forum. And since we've done that, what's happened is the site membership has grown to well over 1,300 members, and we now have discussion forums in multiple languages, We've got documentation from 10-Step that you can't get anywhere else. We've got a cast of terrific contributors who are putting different content items and documents into that community. So it's a fantastic place for project managers to gather and collaborate, get information, ask questions. They can post a profile. We're going to be launching a job line, having some discussions with some various recruiters. Any employer who is looking for a project manager is welcome to post their requirements in our job line, and candidates are always welcome to post their resumes. So for the most part, it's a free service. Anyone can join. Love to have you stop by. It's www.10stepcommunity.com. Stop by and check it out.
Okay, so let's take a little look into the future. I mean, you've done so many things in the past. Is there anything that you're planning to do?
I am personally, I am taking an interest in web consulting over the course of ReadySetPass.com, the Project Management Learning Center, and a handful of others that I won't name. I've learned how to do the web development myself, so I'm looking at opportunities to branch out and turn that into its own little company. So I think that's what's on my horizon right now, but more to come on that in the future.
All right. What about projects in your day job? Is there anything on the horizon there? Any new projects that you see coming? Or will you just continue to be part of the PMO and continue to roll out to more universities?
Well, the university program is just one piece of what I do. Because of the way that we segment out the work, it provides an opportunity for each project manager to take on multiple projects. So I'm also involved in a large project in our utility space with a large energy production company, which includes some nuclear power plants across 4 different states. It's a very large effort. So I've been working on that for about a year now, and I think that's going to continue for the next 3 years. I also do projects in the financial space, projects in manufacturing space. We have some very large customers, and these project life cycles seem to be extending beyond what you would consider a normal project, more into program efforts. So I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm looking at different opportunities within our organization. I don't anticipate exiting the PMO for any reason anytime soon. So we'll just see what happens.
Everything that you said points to work for about 5 or 6 people. How do you manage all of this? It sounds like you're totally overworked and you have too much on your plate.
No, it's I wouldn't say overworked, but it's very fast-paced. The communication aspect of managing a project in our environment is critical. We have if you break the PMO down and you consider all the different divisions within our organization, I don't have an exact count, but I'd say there's around 250 people, maybe more, maybe a little more, a little less. But the thing that makes us successful is our ability to communicate. It's a part of the methodology. It's definition on the way it takes place, when, how, why. So all that's there, and it's just a matter of educating the people on how to execute properly. And we do, I think, a very good job of that.
If there was one thing that you could change in your company when it comes to project management, being in the implementation, being about the project management methodology, what would you change if you could?
I right now would change actually a piece of our business that is not run by the PMO, and that is our supporting organization. There's multiple organizations that support us. There's one in particular that is going through some revision. I'm excited to see what that revision brings, because we, in my opinion, desperately need it.
So, let's look into the next week then. What's on your schedule in the next week? What are your plans?
Well, over the course of the next week, I will be finalizing our staffing plan for the higher education effort. I will be booking an immense amount of travel for the next month. I will be finalizing a statement of work for a healthcare project that I've been working on. So I've got a short list of items that I need to get done over the next week.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Thanks for being on.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to hearing more of your podcast.
And that was our project management conversation with Shawn Futterer. That's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. As always, you can find us on the web at thepmpodcast.com, or if you are a project manager who wants to become PMP certified, you can visit pmprepcast.com. In this sister podcast, we teach you the concepts, tools, and techniques that you need to know in order to pass the PMP exam. Please send your emails to pmpodcast@gmail.com, and when you write, please tell me where in the world you are writing from. And finally, we have this. A quote that I heard on this month's PM Lessons Learned conference call from David Ratkovich. Projects are usually in one of 4 states: not yet started, finished, in crisis, or about to be in crisis. Until next time.